I cannot tell you how many times I get this question. So today's video, we are finally going to tackle it. We're going to talk all about retinol and my tips for starting retinol. Hi guys, welcome back to Sheri Proof and thank you so much for joining me today. So as you've heard in today's video, we are going to cover retinol 101. I hope you have your notebooks ready because today we are going to be in class. So again, let me just preface this video by saying that I'm not a dermatologist, I'm not an esthetician. I am just what I like to call a very, very educated consumer. I do read and study all those medical studies and journals, and I have tested hundreds and hundreds of products over my 2-decade journey with acne. So I have found a real love for skincare, and I love sharing my information or that information as a consumer to help you make better choices. Again, if you do have severe skin issues that cannot be tackled with products that you could just purchase over the counter, definitely go see a professional, definitely make an appointment with a dermatologist. In fact, I always tell people to do that. So putting that aside, I'm going to share with you some information that I hope will be able to break down this topic and at least give you a start in terms of understanding retinol and some of the key bits of information that you may need to have. So getting right into it, what is retinol? So I talk a lot about retinol because it's a part of my own personal skincare routine. I've mentioned in several videos. I even talked about it in one of my recent videos, 5 skincare ingredients that I absolutely cannot live without. And you would hear a lot of people talking about retinol constantly, about how important it is in a skincare routine, and there are so many reasons for that. Retinol is, there's all the hype, it is considered a holy grail ingredient, and for good reason. Now I'm saying retinol and I'm going to be using the term very loosely because retinol is actually a type of retinoid, and they are all vitamin A derivatives, and they fall under the umbrella of retinoids, and there are different types which we will get into a little bit later on in this video. But let's talk a little bit about why is retinol so sought after or so interesting for a lot of people when they come into skincare. Now, the thing about it is, like, if you want to get just one active in your nighttime skincare routine, that active really should be, in my opinion, retinol. And a lot of dermatologists will agree because of the tremendous benefits that we can get out of retinol. The first thing is the prevention of fine lines and wrinkles. Now, retinol is one of the very few ingredients that has been not only studied but proven over and over again to prevent fine lines and the formation of wrinkles and also treat it. It does this by boosting collagen production deep within the skin, and by doing that, it kind of helps to fill in those lines that we already have and helps to prevent new ones that may be coming up. The second reason why retinol is so important is because it helps to thicken the dermis, and the dermis is that part of the skin that's below the surface of the skin. Now, a lot of people believe that retinol thins the skin, but in fact it's actually helping that part of the skin that's below the surface to get thicker, and by doing that it's going to help the elasticity of your skin, the firmness of your skin, and essentially help you look like you have younger, more vibrant skin. The third thing is that it helps to brighten dull skin. And I know we talk a lot about vitamin C, which is a fantastic antioxidant and great for brightening the skin, but retinol also has this impact. And it does this again because of where retinol works deep within the layers of the skin and encouraging cell turnover. So what that means is that it's going to encourage the older cells to die faster, to make way for those new brighter cells that is just like fresh, bright, radiant looking skin. The fourth impact of retinol is that it helps to treat acne, and this was actually one of the impacts that was realized in studies that were focused on actually treating fine lines and wrinkles, and they noticed that retinol, through its ability to regulate sebum and actually reduce the sebum in the skin, and because of that action of cell turnover, helps to reduce clogged pores, was having a positive effect on people with acne. So it's one of the reasons why retinoids are actually prescribed by some doctors to help treat acne and has such a positive impact on acne. And the fifth main reason you may want to consider retinol for your skincare routine is because it helps to fade hyperpigmentation. When it comes to marks or dark spots on the skin, there are a couple ingredients for me that I find I need to have in my skincare routine, and retinol is one of them. And again, if we understand how retinol works because of that cell turnover, you could see how many impacts this deep cell turnover is having. Because again, those dead skin cells that has all that melanin pigment, we're going to help it get to the surface faster. And so the newer ones, hopefully you're using tyrosine inhibitors and all of that to prevent the excess melanin production. Because those newer ones are coming up, it means that we're going to get rid of those dark spots faster. So age spots, any hyperpigmentation, acne scars as well. Retinol is going to have have a positive impact on those in the long term. So the next thing is like, which type of retinoid do you choose? There are so many on the market, and the purpose of this video is not actually to give product recommendations, although I will list definitely some in the description box below, but I really just want to focus more on the ingredients and helping you understand, you know, if you're going to use this, how to use it, and so on. So there are many different types. The weakest or the least strong option would be retinol palmitate, which you may see as an ingredient in some products on the market. Sometimes you'll see them in retinol night creams or sometimes retinol serums. They are very, very gentle. They are the weakest, but they are great for people with more sensitive skin. Then you have the one that most of us know about, which is retinol. Retinol you would find in all different formats, again, in creams, in serums, and you would find them as well in varying strengths as products that you could purchase over the counter in different skincare products. Then you have retinaldehyde or adapalene. This one is a little bit stronger than just retinol, but you would also be able to purchase this in some products that are sold over the counter. And then we finally go to stronger retinoids that are more prescription types, like Tret or tretinoin as it's called, and you would get those probably through a prescription from your dermatologist. So the question is, which one should you choose? Now, based on what I mentioned there in terms of a couple of skin types, if you have very, very sensitive skin and you want to get into retinol, then you may want to consider a product that has retinol palmitate. It doesn't mean that you cannot use a retinol product. It may mean that you need to be careful with how you incorporate that in your skincare routine, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But definitely you may want to consider that one. Most skin types can actually use retinol, and it's why most of the products that you're going to see that you could just easily purchase will contain retinol when it comes to this category of skincare. You want to consider, of course, your skin type, your skin issues, formulations, because retinol sometimes, you know, formulated in different ways. Sometimes there are products that are a little bit more hydrating. You'd find it in serums, you'd find it in creams. It comes in many different forms. However, I want to make this point because a lot of people just feel like, okay, maybe I should just go to my dermatologist, maybe I should just get the strongest prescription out there, and that may not necessarily be the best idea. Now, there are some people with severe skin issues that actually require prescription retinoids, and if you need that, definitely go that way, follow the instructions of your doctor and use it accordingly. However, for the regular John public like me, and although I did have acne, I chose the way of just using retinol that I could purchase over the counter to incorporate in my skincare routine. Studies have also showed that you will get the same long-term anti-aging effects from a lower strength or a slower strength retinoid compared to a moderate strength retinoid. So what that means is that it's not necessarily about the strength, it's about consistency, and again, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So at what age should you start using retinol in your skincare? Well, most dermatologists will say from the age of as early as 25 or probably in your 30s. Why? Because generally from the age of 25, early 30s, it's the time when our natural skin cell turnover slows down. So we actually start seeing some of those signs of aging. We start seeing some fine lines. We start seeing a little bit more dullness in the skin, and so that's when a retinol is going to really start having an impact. Some people may even have retinol in their skincare from even earlier. So if you are probably a teenager that has really, really bad acne, your dermatologist or your doctor may prescribe a strong retinoid or retinol for you to help with that. So it really depends on your circumstances and what's happening with your skin, but in general, from as early as 25, early 30s would be the age that you would probably look at getting a retinol into your skincare routine for best results. So the next question then, Sheri, is how fast will I see results? And I know we live in a microwave society. Everybody wants things instantly, but you guys know that not just me, but a lot of people that are really, really into skincare, and anybody who has really been on this journey know that consistency really, really pays off, and it's going to take patience over time. In general, like studies have shown that retinoic acid, which is where tretinoin or those prescription retinoids are, will start showing results as soon as 12 weeks, which is essentially about 3 months. All the over-the-counter ones like retinol, retinaldehyde, and so on will give you results in at least 3 months, but in general it's best to wait like 3 to 6 months to actually start seeing results in your skin. Everybody's going to be different. Now remember, the way retinol is working is from deep within the skin, so it's going to take some time with that turnover to get things going for you to see what's happening. Retinol is kind of tricking your skin into thinking that you are younger than you actually are, so just give it some time, but you will definitely see results, and wait at least 3 to 6 months before deciding, nah, this really ain't for me. But yes, slow and steady is definitely going to win the race when it comes to retinol. So then why are so many people afraid of retinol? And really there is genuine concern. A lot of people keep hearing like, oh my God, you need retinol in your skincare routine. But then they read about certain things and they're like, I'm not so sure retinol is for me. And why? Because some of the common side effects of retinol could include some dryness, some flakiness, some skin irritation, some skin peeling, depending on the strength, depending on how it's used and all of that. Some people may also see an increase in breakouts. And really and truly, this is like an adjustment period for your skin. Those things that are happening within the skin are happening pretty quickly. Although it's happening over a period of time, and your skin really has to adjust to the ingredient. And I'm telling you, if you could just press through any type of irritation that you're having, there are ways to minimize it, which we're going to talk about, but just press through that period and then you're going to see the results at the end of the rainbow. This is not going to happen to everybody. Some people may go through it like without any type of irritation at all. Some people may get some irritation. Some people may get irritation really, really badly, and they may need to step back a little bit. But in general, it's something to just keep in mind. But we're going to talk a little bit now about how you could minimize irritation and probably get retinol into your skincare routine with the least issues as possible, and how to do that in the best way. The first tip is really self-explanatory, and it really has to do with choosing the right formula or strength. So as I mentioned before, there are different types of retinoids. So if you know you have the most sensitive skin, then just get the weakest one. Get something that is retinol palmitate. If you are generally normal, probably just with regular issues, you could probably just look for retinol. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you look for the high strength retinol that's available, to purchase over the counter. You want to look for something that's probably going to be gentle, because again, you really, really want to start gently. My next tip is to start slowly. And this is something that I think I probably need to save and just copy and paste when people message me about this. These are the guidelines that I will give. So the first thing is, when you are starting retinol, it is going to be used at night only. It's going to be in your nighttime skincare routine, and you want to start one night per week. You want to do that for a couple weeks, 1 or 2 weeks. Once there is no irritation on your skin, then you could move to using this 2 nights per week. Again, you do that for a couple weeks. If there are no irritation on the skin, then you could move to 3 nights a week, or generally every other night. Some people could even handle retinol every single night, but in general, dermatologists and doctors will tell you that if you get retinol in your skincare routine every other night, you are definitely going to be getting the best effect, that's possible for your skin. Now, if it is that you realize that even at twice a week you are getting some irritation, then you want to step back and stay at a once per week for a couple more weeks. Just rally it through, because everybody's skin is different. And if you want to really minimize how much irritation or how much perceived negative side effects that you may have going through this journey, then you really want to stay as gentle as possible for as long as possible and gradually take it up a notch. The third tip is really just a reminder. This is just a reminder that consistency is key when it comes to retinol. If you decide that you're going to get retinol in your skincare routine, and you decide that you're going to use retinol tonight, and then you don't use retinol a month from now, like, you're not really going to see any effect. The key here is consistency. So when you decide you're going to start, you're going to start. So you started once a week, and if you're able to build up and get to 3 nights or every other night in terms of your retinol, that's when you're really, really going to start seeing the effect. Retinol shouldn't just be used, when you feel like it, or once in a blue moon. To really see the impact, you need to have it consistently in your nighttime skincare routine. Tip number 4. Retinol is not a spot treatment. So unless something is specifically, guiding you that way, retinol is not a spot treatment. It is for all over your face. You want to avoid your eyes, of course. That's a very, very sensitive area, but it's for all over your face. And that's, again, how you're going to see the best results. You want to use a small amount. If you're going to be using a retinol cream, then you use a pea-size amount. If you're going to be using a serum, again, you could kind of measure how much you're going to need. You don't need to empty the whole bottle to slather your face. This is not one of those cases like, just like having a ton of moisturizer. No, this is not that. A little bit goes a long way. A little bit is going to do the job. So you want to use just a small amount, but the key, one of the biggest steps when it comes to reducing or minimizing irritation, has to do with applying it to dry skin. So that means that even if you've done a toner or an essence or something before, you want to make sure those products are completely absorbed before you go in with your retinol. If it's a serum, If it's a cream, it's a little bit easier because you just make sure that everything that you applied, whatever serums you used before, are completely absorbed and dry, and then you go in with your retinol night cream. The reason why you want to do it on dry skin is because if your skin is damp, that increases the risk of irritation because the product or the retinol is going to be absorbed into the skin faster. Now, some people can handle that completely fine, but if you are new to it, you want to make sure and try to apply it on dry skin to reduce that. The next step is that moisturizer is critical. So you would see and you would have heard that for some people, they may experience like extra dryness or extra flakiness. Remember that retinoids actually kind of reduce the amount of sebum in the skin. So you want to make sure that you definitely apply a good amount of moisturizer. So again, perhaps your retinol might be in your night cream, so then that's fine. But one of the things that you could do is the sandwich method, in that you could actually apply your moisturizer, allow it to completely dry, apply your retinol, and then apply another layer of moisturizer on top. You want to just make sure that your skin is well moisturized to prevent any extra dryness and so on, and I think that is self-explanatory. The next step has to do with avoid using other acne fighting ingredients in the same routine. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot necessarily use some of these ingredients together. The whole purpose of this is really just to avoid irritation. So if by using salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide on the same night as a retinol is going to increase possibility for irritation in your skin, then just avoid it, you know. So you could do those on the alternate nights if you're not going to be using retinol every night. The next step has to do with avoid using other harsh actives or acids, things like that, on the same night that you're using retinol. So if you know that you're custom using like an acid toner or something like that, or an acid serum, you probably want to do that on the alternate nights. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean that in theory you cannot use these ingredients together, but the possibility of doing them on the same night in the same routine increases your risk of irritation. And while we want to get the benefits of retinol, we don't want to get the irritated skin. So let's just do everything possible to avoid that. And the last big tip is do not skip sunscreen. I cannot say this enough, because using retinol is actually going to increase your UV sensitivity, the sensitivity of your skin to the sun. That means while we know that SPF in general is important, it becomes even more critical once we have included retinol in our skincare routine. And we want to be able to get all those wonderful benefits, including its ability to help us with things like hyperpigmentation and so on. So sunscreen, please don't skip it. Make sure that you apply enough, a half teaspoon of product. I like to use 2 finger lengths in order to get my measurement. And if you're going to be outside with direct UV exposure, you want to make sure that you are reapplying your sunscreen every 2 hours. So guys, I hope that this video is helpful. For those of you who may be new to retinol, I hope that this is going to help you. I hope that this allays some of your fears. And perhaps for those of you who may be more experienced retinol users, I hope that this video is also helpful. I'll be happy to hear about any comments below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.